I wanted to ask you about since you've been in the industry, in the fitness industry here for so long, and as you know, it's like there's gyms everywhere, there's coaches everywhere, there's all this kind of stuff. What's your view on the industry in the UAE? What are your thoughts about it?
It's definitely getting better. I think the quality of qualifications you can do here for a start there's way more offerings than there ever has been. Like the amount of fitness professionals that come into the country and access to professionals like you have here we've never experienced anything like this. Like you can do all sorts of seminars now with really, really intelligent coaches. I think the increase in the demand because there have been so many gyms, and again, this probably would have been like maybe 5 years ago, maybe even longer. There was a lot of people that were fit and knew how to work out that didn't want to work corporate jobs anymore, or a recession hit and they lost their job, and they're, well, I'm fit, I can make some quick cash if I just start training people on the side. So they get their a real simple PT cert, and all of a sudden they're coaches now. And then we all get painted with the same brush. Like I've been doing this for 13 years and I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on my education and experience and hours of practicing how to train people safely. And this guy's been doing it for 2 minutes and he paid like 1,000 dirhams for his certificate. And now we're both coaches.
Yeah.
So it used to be a lot like that. And I think it's gotten better. I think it's almost like those guys didn't survive. And I think lockdown flushed a lot of them out, the whole COVID scenario. And I think the more experience, or the better coaches, for lack of a better word, will survive, and the cream will rise to the top, if you like, because people will slowly start to become more educated and understand that this guy doesn't actually know anything. And it really grates me, and I shouldn't bitch about this, but when you see people that have like huge followings on social media,
sure,
and they look the part and all their branding's awesome, and then you see their clients move, or you see the way they move, it's just like you move horribly, and it may look like they're just doing a squat, what's wrong, but then their feet are turning in, their knees are all over the place, they've got really poor movement patterns, and it's just like you clearly don't know what you're doing, but yet people are listening to you. And to me it's annoying because it's dangerous, and I care if that, well, if someone's going to go and pay you money to train with you, they're going to get hurt, then it's a disservice. And I feel like 100%. There's definitely a lot of those around still, probably less than there was, but I think there's better access to more education here, and there's more experience and more qualified coaches here than there ever has been.
Really?
So the industry is definitely on the rise.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think Dubai was just kind of late to the party. I think if you look at like LA and Sydney are probably the pioneering cities in terms of fitness, like innovation. Dubai has quickly caught up, like in typical UAE fashion, has quickly caught up to that. And like I said, there's been some really interesting seminars that I've attended here of people that you wouldn't get in most places in the world.
Yeah. I feel everyone in the fitness community here kind of knows each other. Was that true?
It's very tight.
Yeah, it's very tight. Is it large? Is it small?
It's large, but I think it's a big. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of gyms and there's a lot of coaches, but I think it's a very small community.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're like 1 degree of separation from anybody here. Yeah, I know of people that I've never met that I could go and speak to tomorrow just because I know they're in the same circle, even though I've never spoke to them. Yeah. I mean, look at us. This came through Tarek, that came through Athlete, that from Mad Nutrition. Sorry. So it's like you can definitely. And one thing is that I really appreciate being here in the fitness industry is I've had like a gymnastics coach, a weightlifting coach, a nutrition coach, all these different things. I've got friends that are physios. I've got friends that do all sorts. I've got friends that are sleep doctors. I've got all these connections that I've made here because it's such a melting pot that if I was just in like my hometown in the UK, I'd probably maybe know like one physio. So being here has become such a hub for fitness and a global hub that there is that melting pot of a lot of different experts that you do have access to. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think one thing about, like you said, it is a melting pot, and you do have access to quite a lot of people in different areas of talent and expertise and so on, like you said correctly, like physio, sleep doctors, all that kind of stuff. But one thing also about Dubai is, like you said, it's a large community, but it's also quite small. And I think, especially when in my mind as a coach, like your credibility is super important. Yeah. Especially in those kind of circles, because if you're in that industry, you need to be a credible source. Otherwise, people who know, like yourself, who understand what a real coach is and what coaching is, are gonna be able to sniff you out pretty quickly. Yeah. I
definitely think so. And I'd like to see that happen more, and I'd like to see customers be more aware of, like, I feel like people come to our gym who have been at other gyms and they're doing like squats, for example. I'm like, and they're, oh yeah, I've done this at this gym for 2 years, and they come in and they've got really bad movement patterns, or like they're like borderline, it's dangerous to watch a move, and we're like, what are you doing? And whereas people from our gym, I'm sure if they went to another gym, they'd be like, oh, you move really well, because we have very high movement standards. And obviously there's the anomalies where some people just move really poorly because of their mechanics, whatever. But for the most part, is people should be able to identify what is good quality training, and you can identify coaches' experience or at least their kind of integrity by how well looking at their members move. If you turn up at the gym and everyone looks like they're in pain all the time and looks really uncomfortable moving, then the coach probably isn't taking great care of that group.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. So you're a coach, and you have all the experience, so you could sniff out, or you could tell who's a good coach, who's a bad coach, right? So before there's two questions. So first, what makes a good coach in your words? What do you define as a good coach?
Just care.
Care.
You've just got to give a shit. Like if you care, you'll invest more time. You'd like, especially when you're doing group stuff, it's really easy if you've taught like 4 hours in a row, and your fourth hour someone isn't doing something 100% correct, just to be like, it's good enough, and move on because you don't care enough. Whereas like all of our coaches were like, nope, stop, fix that, like try a little bit harder, you can do better than that, and push to get more out of people. And that just shows that if you've got coaches that'll do that, they'll probably follow up with you if they haven't seen you for a week. They'll probably check in and make sure you're sleeping and your food's on point, and you're probably going to make better progress. You'll be safer, and you'll be able to train for longer and be healthier. So I definitely just think it's that coaches that care. And it's hard to know when you're getting into a relationship with a coach if they care, but that's what I would say makes a good coach, someone who genuinely cares about the people they're working with.
Okay, so now let's flip it and look at it from a client's perspective, because like you said, there's coaches everywhere, and they say like, he'll have a PT1 certification, but you've invested thousands of dollars and you have a much higher level of certification, but I'm a customer, I don't know, I want to join the gym. What advice would you give me when I'm starting to look for a coach that I haven't met before? What should I be looking for?
Don't be fooled by their Instagram page, first thing. But I think that goes for all industries. Is like, fitness industry is very visual. So people want to blow up their Instagram page and be like 6-pack out and loads of followers, loads of likes. Don't be fooled by that. Like a lot of people who I think the best coaches aren't the ones that are flaunting themselves all over Instagram. The better coaches are ones that are talking about their customers on Instagram, for example. Better coaches, it's your initial interaction. Most gyms will allow you to come for a trial, most gyms, or if you get in contact, you're a genuine lead, you're actually interested, or most coaches will offer some sort of either trial or consultation. And I think that's the only point you can gauge it, because someone could be like BS in their Instagram and making it look like they're authentic as hell, but they might not be. And likewise, someone may be really poor on social media just because they're not tech savvy, but they're a great coach, so you shouldn't judge that. Get your first interaction through either a trial or a consultation if it's a one-on-one coach, and then just how did they make you feel during that session? Did you believe that they had your best interest at heart? Did they care about what you were saying? Were they listening to you? Like, I've really enjoyed this because you've been asking really great questions and I can tell that you're listening. If you went to a PT and you were like, my goal is this, and like, okay, cool, and what time can you train? Versus you were like, oh, my goal is this, and you're like, okay, well, if your goal is that, then we'll probably want to look at doing this. How can you do that? And how did they make you feel? Do you have a good connection with that person? Do you believe that they have your best interest at heart? And you can get that from a group environment as well. If you have a trial at a group environment, was it just turn up, jump into class, or did they check, cool, have you got any injuries, what's your training experience, are you okay with this, bathrooms are over there, like let me know if you need anything. If you feel comfortable in that environment, then give them a try.
And do you think, because what I think is also super interesting, so someone at your level as well, and people like even athletes who have all the experience and the ability to coach, they also have coaches, which I think is super interesting. Why is it? Do you have a coach yourself?
Not currently, but I have before many times.
What's the reason that a coach has a coach?
Everyone needs accountability, right? And there's what we we're talking about earlier with, like, if your goal is to lose 5 kg and the reason you want to lose 5 kg is to look better for your spouse, then you need someone to help you lose that 5 kg. If you're a coach, you might have the same training goal, or it might be like a business coach, for example. A lot of coaches that I know and respect have business mentors as well as fitness coaches as well. And there's always someone better than you. There's always someone that knows a little bit more than you, has 100%. A bit more experience. And it's just, we need that accountability as well. It's like, I've got a mentor and accountability coach that I have to submit business metrics to every week to make sure I'm doing my work on time. And that comes from, I sought this guy out because it comes from me wanting to get better at running my business. So I've got someone who's got a bit more experience in that field that can help me guide me to working towards that, same way you would for a fitness coach.
Okay. Oh, that's actually, no, that makes a lot of sense. And something you've said a couple of times today, which I think is super important, is the accountability, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's that being accountable to yourself, but also, like you said, when you have a mentor or you have a coach, it just like doubles down on that, because you have those lazy days and stuff. And one thing, this is something that I've been thinking about, and I personally don't know the answer to, but maybe a coach can give me a bit of more of advice. You know how they say you should always listen to your body?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's say you didn't get a good sleep, you go into a gym, but you have like a really heavy workout that is planned to do, but you're not feeling it. So the question becomes, should you do it? But also that kind of can play against you, because you'd be like, from waking up, you might be feeling a bit lazy. You're like, oh yeah, my body can't do it. Do you know what I mean? So how do you really understand when's like, I really can and like I really can't?
I'd say and again, it depends on who you are and what your goals are. If it's your career, like you're a professional athlete, you don't get to have days like that. You've got to train like 6 days a week. You have to, whether you feel like it or not.
Sure.
If there's not that much riding on it, it doesn't really matter if you miss a day of the gym. If you genuinely feel like you can't do it today, like I was supposed to train today, I'm pretty tired. I'm probably not going to train now.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's really important to you, do something. If you have to, you feel guilty if you don't, go and do something easy. If you're not feeling it and it's not going to change your life too much, like missing one session is not going to do too much for you.
Yeah.
So just skip it. I mean, if it's multiple days in a row, then question whether you're being lazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But then if you genuinely understand why am I going to the gym? Why am I paying for a gym membership? Why am I making myself go through all this pain of being sore from working out? That's a lot of sacrifice you've got to make. You better have a good reason why. Yeah. And then if you wake up, you're like, well, I don't need to go to the gym again. And it's like, I have this reason why I want to go to the gym. It's like, yeah, I'm still pretty sore. And if that doesn't motivate you to get over it, and it's because you're generally tired versus being lazy, then you'd know pretty soon. And if it's like 3 days in a row, you're like, yeah, now I'm just being lazy.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think that's a very, very good point.